Welcome back to the Reclaim Podcast. I'm Connie Stowers, the realist skater.
And I'm Melissa Harrison, fierce feminine.
And this is your reminder that nobody is coming to save you. Remember to like and subscribe because that's the only way we get to keep doing this. Ooh, okay, so
Hey.
It was a full moon again yesterday.
It was. We keep doing this.
We record all the time on a full moon.
We do.
And it's funny. I didn't tell you this. A friend of mine was watching our episodes and she mentioned, she was like, how do you know Melissa? And I said, funny you should say that. We met for the first time in person the first time we ever recorded our podcast. So, if you don't know that, so Melissa has her own podcast. Can you share what the name of your podcast is?
Yeah, sure. It's called the Fierce Feminine Podcast, and it's all about women's intuition, conversations with all different kinds of women sharing their experiences with intuition.
Yep. So a mutual friend connected us. I was invited to be on Melissa's podcast. And then at the end of it, we were like, wow, this went so swell. We should start a podcast too. And that's how Reclaim was born.
Yes. Yes.
We said yes.
We sure did.
We said yes.
We say yes a lot, I think.
We do. Yeah. And so that's what today's episode is about saying yes. I mean, we talk a lot about the things we need to say no to, right? Like we've talked about saying no to the bullshit that we bring into our own lives. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about saying no to toxic relationships and the things that we have to say no to. Yeah. But I think we forget to talk about the things that we have to say yes to.
Yes. And you do have to set the foundation of saying no first.
Yes.
You have to get the fuck no's out of the way before you can let the yeses in. But yeah, let's talk about saying yes.
Yes. So I recently said yes to something. I said yes to a sporadic trip to Germany.
Yes, you did.
To go see Taylor Swift in concert.
It's amazing.
So a lot of people have asked, how did that happen? A friend from high school posted on Facebook, and in the post it literally said, "This is chaotic. This is chaos. This is random, and I know nobody else will probably say yes to this. However, I would say yes to this. So I have one ticket to Taylor Swift in Germany, floor standing room only. If you can get to Germany in 7 days, you can have this Taylor Swift ticket." And it's funny because I remember I was laying in bed reading, the scroll I'm reading, and I see it and I was like, oh, that looks super fun. Too bad I can't do it. And then there was this little voice in my head that said, why can't you do it? Why? And I was like, yes. I don't know, because it's too fun. That I'm not allowed to just go have that much fun for no reason. And I think whether it's because of how you were raised, right? I was raised to be very cautious and to not make big decisions, to not travel far from home. Those are scary things.
Same. Yeah.
So I sat there and I was like, okay, let me take a look at my schedule. I did not have my daughter on the days that was going to be Germany, except for the one night before we left. I just needed a babysitter for a couple hours.
Yep.
I was like, okay, there's that. And I was like, well, I bet the flights are crazy. And so then I looked and I was like, oh, flights really aren't that bad based on going to Europe for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And so I just sent a message and said hey, I just want to let you know that if you don't find anybody, I'm in. And it was almost like an out-of-body experience because I don't think I had really committed to being in, because in my head I was like, she's not going to pick me. There's going to be other
Someone's
people.
Someone's going to already have it.
And someone had already claimed it. And I was like, okay, that's really fine. Let me know if anything changes. But almost relieved that somebody else had said no, right? Because I didn't have to make this big decision to say yes to leave the country for 48 hours on a whim. And then a couple of days later, she messaged me and said, hey, ticket's yours if you want it. My cousin can't make it. And I was like, oh! And, I kept asking myself, why was I so inclined to say no first? And all I could think about was it felt weird to say yes and just go for something that seemed super fun and random and maybe something not everyone would do. Not everyone's going to leave the country by themselves with just themselves and a passport and a carry-on.
Yeah.
And do 48 hours of random global traveling. It did help that I knew someone that was going to be there. Like that did help. But I think even if I didn't know that somebody that I knew was going to be there, I would have said yes anyways.
Yeah.
But I wasn't raised to say yes to those things. Like if somebody invites you to a party down the street, you say yes.
Right.
If somebody invites you to a party across the ocean, you don't say yes.
Do you think part of it was that it was this huge Eras tour that has just like made such a global sensation? Do you think the magnitude of that gave you some of the pull?
Yeah, I think that, Taylor Swift is obviously an artist that is making a very big impact in the music world. She is someone who, like, whether you like her or hate her or love her, she's
Right.
a talented musician.
That's right.
And
smart businesswoman.
smart businesswoman. And you look at the price of tickets in the U.S., and I'm like, well, I would not be saying yes in the U.S. based on the ticket prices.
Yeah.
So this actually makes more sense to fly across the world to see her. It actually was cheaper. Even if I had paid for the ticket, I think it still was cheaper all around.
Yeah.
But I just it was this really intense feeling of I am in control of my life. Nobody else is here to tell me how to live it or what rules to play by. And I think my whole life I've wanted someone to tell me how to live it and what rules to play by. And I think this is going a little bit deeper now. But my therapist and I talked about this recently, the men that I've chosen in my life have not been the best partners for me, but they were, I'll say, controlling in a loose way, because it wasn't you have to do this, you have to do that. It was more of this is how it's supposed to be. If you do this, this is the result you'll get, and I'll love you, right? I will love you if you are a homemaker. I'll love you if you're dressing prettier. I'll love you if you're cooking dinner for me every night. And so I think I've spent so many decades just seeking out someone to tell me what to say yes to and tell me what to say no to, that now that it's in my own hands, it's a very powerful thing, but it's very overwhelming. There's nobody to ask. For a moment I sat there and who do I have to call to make sure I can do this? And I was like, bitch, nobody. It's just you. Because nobody's coming to save you. And nobody's coming to make the decisions for you either.
No, and we really don't need permission. But oftentimes we feel like we do. And I think it's so important to get, how do I want to say this? Some of the yeses when we initially start, just saying yes, are going to be bad decisions.
Yeah.
But I think your trip was an amazing decision.
I've had 2 years of bad yeses prior to this, so it's fine.
So you built up the stamina to get to the good decisions. Yeah.
I did.
And I think oftentimes, especially when you're coming out of that living in control and fear, if you make the wrong move, you're going to fuck up the rest of your life. When you're coming out of that, you have to just say yes to everything to get into the habit of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't hurt yourself. Don't put yourself in horrible situations, but making sure that you say yes when it feels exciting for you, or when it's a new opportunity, or when it's definitely outside of your comfort zone.
And when the intuition is telling you to say yes, right?
Yes.
This was something that my intuition was saying yes to. And it was so cool because I got there, everything, I have to say, I had planned it in a very tight way. I was leaving Boston. By the time I landed in Germany, I only had about 5 hours to get to the concert. So if there was any delay or if anything went wrong, concert over, game over.
Yep.
Coming back, I was leaving and landing 3 hours before my daughter had to be picked up from school. And of course, I had a backup plan.
Sure.
But everybody was watching to see, can she really pull this off? There were some judgmental eyes that had some opinions on me doing this. Mm-hmm. And there was definitely this thought of, she'll never make it back.
Yeah.
And I have a good friend who is very much the same path we are. We're manifesting, positive thinking. And it brought up like a quote. I think I'd shared this quote with you. Fear is what if. Faith is even if. Mm-hmm. And so like, but she just drilled in me. Like, I was like, what if the plane's late? What if I don't make it? What if? And she's like, stop that. No, the plane's going to be there on time. You're going to land in time. You're going to be home in time to get Audie. Like, not a problem. Stop that. And I was like, you're right. I'm in a fear-based mindset right now. I need to go to my faith mindset of like, okay, even if the plane is late, still going to make it to the concert. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Right? Or even if the plane is late, well, then maybe it's saving me from something crazy that was supposed to happen.
Oh, for sure.
But the things that I wonder, like, how many times do we say no to fun things because it just feels like, well, I'm not supposed to have too much fun. Like, it feels like there's this depleting account of fun where it's like, you've had all your fun this month. You're not allowed to have more. You've already withdrawn all the fun.
And it's so backwards because feminine energy thrives in flow and fun. It's supposed to be that we're tapped into the parts of us that feel alive and excited and expansive. And something always comes from that benefits us in the so-called masculine, patriarchal society that we are a part of. Every time I don't even want to say give into, because it's not about giving into. Every time I actually live aligned with flow and ease and calm, which is fun, which is saying yes to those moments. Things kick off, it's like miraculous. Like I could not have even imagined it. I would bet there have been things that it's, and you can't necessarily draw a straight line from the fun you had on that Germany trip to the thing, but I bet you've had some pretty awesome things happen afterward.
Yeah. And I think that when I think about all the times where, and you can even shift the thought process of, am I saying no to something or am I saying yes to something at the same time, right? Like, did I say no to alcohol or did I say yes to a life free from hangovers and bloating and bad decisions?
Yes.
Did I say no to fixing my marriage or did I say yes to walking away from something that I knew was unhealthy and was going to run its course regardless?
And everyone's going to have an opinion. Everyone has an opinion. And I found not listening to any of the opinions, even the ones that agree with what I'm doing, I don't take any of it to heart because it doesn't matter. Ultimately, what matters is what I choose to say yes to, what you choose to say yes to. And does it fit the narrative of who we're becoming? That's
a really interesting thing because I think I made that shift maybe a year and a half ago where I remember I would have certain people on speed dial where it was like everything that I was doing had to filter through like these 5 or 6 people. And I would rehash everything. And what do you think? And everyone had a different opinion. And all their opinions are based on what they would do. And
maybe not even. Maybe what like their parents told them they should do and their fear-based ideas. Like it's just so convoluted.
Right. Or what they think you should do. And it's oftentimes within the parameters of what feels safe for them or what they consider to be safe for you. So, you know, like if I had called my mom and said, do you think I should go to Germany for 2 days to see a concert? She would have been like, absolutely not, Connie. Oh, my God, honey, that's so dangerous.
Right.
If I had called, I did call another family member because they were going to watch my daughter. And the response was, that's so irresponsible. I can't believe you're doing that. What if there is something dangerous over there? And, you know, I mean, we did just hear over the last couple of weeks, Taylor Swift had to cancel her shows because of some possible terrorist attacks and things like that. And there, you know, was there a moment when I was in that big stadium looking all around at the thousands of people surrounding me, like, what's my exit strategy here if something goes wrong? You know?
You just have to mitigate the risk.
Mitigate the risk.
In every time you say yes. You cannot let the threat of risk stop you from saying yes.
No.
There's risk everywhere. There's danger everywhere. Like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm still going to say yes.
Right. And how do I just make sure that I'm in best positioned?
That's right.
If something was to go wrong,
That's right.
Because fear is what if, faith is even if something goes wrong, I'll be okay because here's my backup plan. Mm-hmm. Here's my game plan. Mm-hmm. So I think that when you get into this mode of, I'm going to start saying yes to more things, it really is going to activate something very uncomfortable for you if you're someone who's always relied on everyone else's opinions to form your thoughts and ideas.
Yeah.
And you breaking free from that. And even like, last night I was having, I've had a couple of moments over the past couple of weeks where I've really noticed that my thoughts are mine and I have to be the one to talk through it with myself. Like there is no one I can call to talk through some of the things that are going on in my brain because not a ton of people are on the same path I'm on.
That's right.
I don't even know what path I'm on. I'm a real estate agent who now has a social media presence, who has a podcast, who is trying to help women across the world feel more empowered. I don't know where this is taking me. I have no freaking idea.
That's right.
I just know I'm called to it.
I just want to add something here. Yeah. It's actually the most beautiful, perfect thing that you don't know where it's going. And when we say yes, it can't be because we think there's a certain outcome attached. It has to be because it's going to open something. Like, you saying yes to being on my podcast opened this up. And this is opening up all other ways that you're able to help people, that we're able to help people, right? And it just goes on and on. But if you have it exactly in your mind, like you can have a vision, but it needs to be flexible.
Right.
Because if you have this like hardcore in stone, it can only end up here. You're going to say no to so many things that you really need to say yes to.
Right. And I think it's understanding like the filters, right? Like what are the filters that we're going to run things through for ourselves in order to decide, is this a yes or a hard no?
That's right.
And the filter of, does it serve me? Does it make me feel good? Is this something that excites me? Or is this something that drains me?
Oh, does it give me energy or does it take energy from me?
Is it an energy vampire, right? Like, is it going to multiply or diminish?
And I think we can even take it a step further. And this is not to, like, you have to honor who you are right now in this moment. I think it's also important to say, does this serve the woman I'm becoming? Does this allow me to live as her right now?
Or is it serving the previous version of myself?
Oh, because she wants to come along. And she's
so mad that you left her behind.
That's right.
And no, I think it's important to have that filter. And so often as women, I think our filter involves, how does this affect everybody else?
And how will I be perceived?
How will I be perceived, right? Like, if you decide to leave your marriage, you're going to be perceived, especially if you're on the internet and you publicly talk about it. The perception is you gave up, you're weak, you didn't follow your vows, you didn't stick with it, you're selfish. And sometimes I find myself typing out responses. Like last night, I was typing out like a long response to a woman who said something about, oh, just because you felt unhappy, you left. And that's, it's so disgusting how women are these days. And I'm typing out my response and my phone glitched and like the app closed out. And I was like, you know what? That was the universe telling me this response, not worth my energy. But the response I was writing was like defending myself. And I'm like, you don't have to defend yourself to anybody, especially not a stranger on the internet. But
Amen.
You have to understand your own reasons and be able to stand firm in that. And silence in those reasons is just as powerful as sitting there and spewing all of your because. Nope. Sometimes it's just, this is the choice I made. I don't have to explain to you why I chose it.
That's right.
It's just the choice I made. It was the best choice for me, and I stand firm in that.
And I want to add, too, that sometimes we don't even need to have to be able to explain it to ourselves. Like sometimes it's a yes because it's a yes. And the more we try to rationalize it and hook it onto something, the more we have the potential to talk ourselves out of it. Sometimes you just know it's a knowing that is not going to make any sense.
And then sometimes there's that moment where parts of your body are saying yes. However, there is also, once again, the filtration system.
That's right. That is right.
The thought process of like, well, why am I saying yes? And so what I'm finding is there are things that activate certain parts of like my unhealed inner child. And it's like, I want to say yes to this because it's making her feel good, but it's not in a healthy way. Like, this is not a situation that's saying yes is the right move because is it going to make me feel good in the moment? Yes. And I think that's like equivalent to if you were to put a tequila club soda in front of me right now and be like, this is going to feel so good going down the hatch. And I'm like, fuck yeah, it is. Like, we're going to whip this down real quick and we're going to have a blast. But 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila floor, by the end of the night or by tomorrow, we are not going to have that same feeling of, oh, thank God I said yes. It's going to be why did I say yes to that? I should have said no to that, right? Yeah. That did not align with my goals. That did not align with who I'm becoming. But in the moment, I wanted to fit in at the party. In the moment, I wanted to feel that initial buzz and have a little fun. In the moment, it was a yes. And so I think you have to take yourself out of that moment of, okay, this feels really good. I want to say yes to this. Let's just dig a little bit deeper, though. Why do I want to say yes to this? What is it activating inside of me?
For sure. The self-awareness is key. And the yes without reason, to me, is more of like, there's a deep knowing. You knew, you had a deep knowing that you needed to exit that marriage. Mm-hmm. You had a deep knowing that you needed that shift in career and that you're supposed to help so many women, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's almost a knowing beyond words. It goes so much deeper than making decisions like, because your inner child wants to have a little sippy sip. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Because yes, we have to have those self-awareness filters on all the time until they just become habitual. Like they're running in the background and you don't even have to stop and think anymore.
And, not everybody is going to have like a big, bold, audacious dream. And I think we talked about that last time. Like not everyone is going to have these huge goals, but everybody has a goal somewhere. Everybody has something that they're striving towards. Even if that's a super peaceful life within my home, my marriage, my partners, my children. So what gets you there, right? Like, what do you need to do to get there? What are the things that we will say yes to? What are the things that we are absolutely going to say no to? And in the moments where we're presented with these options and opportunities, just having that filter for yourself of what is this activating? How is this going to make me feel in a week or a month? Am I going to be excited? Am I going to be happy that I said yes to this?
Right.
In 2 weeks?
Yep.
Or am I going to think, oh, maybe that wasn't the best idea? Because, like, I'm all about YOLO. All about YOLO. But, if somebody was to say to me, hey, do you want to take, like, a huge expensive vacation next week? I'm like, oh, I'm already going to Barcelona in a couple weeks. I got a listing coming up. God, I want to say yes. But it's probably just not the right time to say yes to that, even though it's a total YOLO. Right. But it's not really aligned with what I've got going on in the moment. So I think that, this is not to say just say yes to everything fun. Sometimes the fun things even need to be I'm going to say no to this fun thing because I'm going to say yes to myself. And what myself needs to do is like save some money and get out of debt. What myself needs to do right now is focus on healing my relationships with alcohol and food. So going out to this huge party is probably not going to put me on that path.
Right.
What are you saying yes to and why are you saying yes to it?
And the key, as always, is self-awareness. Having the courage to be really raw and honest with yourself about who you are and how you make decisions so that you can make the ones that will benefit you again and again.
We're all out here just raw dogging life, baby. Thanks for joining us today on Reclaim. Nobody is coming to save you. If you haven't already, go ahead, hit like, hit subscribe, send it to a friend. Everybody needs to hear these messages these days. They're super important. So thanks for joining us.